Cockroaches are pests that often cause a visceral reaction. Whether disgusted, panicked, or simply fearful, human beings despise cockroaches, and rightfully so. Cockroaches are disease-carrying pests that can spread bacteria, various pathogens, and parasitic worms to human beings. Perhaps, though, the greatest health threat lies in that their allergens can trigger asthma attacks, especially in children. Hello, I'm Steve Lubetkin. Today I'm joined on the podcast by Greg Bauman of the National Pest Management Association. Today on the NPMA podcast, we'll be discussing cockroaches and, more specifically, how these pests can cause significant health threats, especially for children. We'll also be addressing what preventative measures the public can take to protect both their homes and families from the dangers associated with these most unwelcome pests. Greg, thanks for joining us again.
Thank you.
Let's start off by talking about what cockroaches look like and where they're usually found.
Well, many of us have seen cockroaches during our lifetime, but there are many, many types of cockroaches. But the typical cockroach that we see in our house is going to be oval-shaped. It's going to range in color from reddish brown to a light tan. They are going to have 6 legs, which means that they're an insect, and they are going to have long antenna for feeling their way along, and the cockroach itself can be up to 3 inches long. Cockroaches, like so many pests, are attracted to moisture and are often found in the basement of homes, particularly around pipes and drains. But keep in mind, they like to eat what we like to eat, so they will feed on anything that we leave behind.
So they'll come up from those wet areas and go visit our pantries and our kitchens.
That is correct. They will come up and enjoy anything that we leave behind for them. And it's particularly bad if somebody makes some sandwiches and leaves crumbs and leaves maybe some peanut butter, maybe some jelly on the countertop. These are buffets for cockroaches.
Cockroaches can lead to some serious health problems. What are some of the things we need to be worried about?
Cockroaches need to be taken seriously. They can pose serious health threats to human beings. Keep in mind, with the way they live, cockroaches will crawl in the basement, but they'll also crawl in all sorts of dirty areas. And they could crawl through spilled sewage, for example, contaminated food, and further contaminating the areas that we are in and our food source. They can pick up germs on the spines of the legs and bodies, which then can be spread to contaminate any clean spaces. So these are dirty creatures, without a doubt. They can also carry bacteria, such as E. coli and salmonella, foodborne illness. And this is why cockroaches are very concerning in a food establishment. And they can contaminate all the equipment in these establishments as well, not to mention our own kitchens. We know that cockroaches can spread at least 33 types of bacteria, 6 kinds of parasitic worms, and at least 7 other kinds of human pathogens. And keep in mind, this is just information we have. It could be a much larger pool. One of the biggest concerns is that cockroaches can trigger asthma attacks, especially in children. The American Lung Association has officially reported that asthma is the leading chronic illness among children and young adults in the United States. They report that an estimated 6.2 million children have been diagnosed with asthma, and that is a major cause of absenteeism, especially in inner-city schools. The cost of asthma nationwide is reported as $14.5 billion.
That's serious money.
It sure is.
How exactly do cockroach allergens cause asthma attacks? Do we know?
We know that cockroaches can introduce allergens by their droppings, their saliva, and when they shed their shells, what they call the detritus, the leftovers that are on the floor there. The presence of droppings and shed skins, no matter how small an amount, can pose significant health consequences. We know that to be a fact. It's important to note that if you do see one cockroach, there's a good chance you have more than one cockroach. And, of course, the more roaches you have, the larger chance of an allergen buildup. So you want to reduce an infestation to reduce those allergens because we know that cockroach allergens can be very dangerous to children.
Greg, what kinds of preventative measures can listeners, members of the public take to keep cockroaches from ending up inside their homes?
Well, this is another pest where sanitation is the key. The cockroaches like to live where we live. They like to eat what we eat. We want to make sure that we keep our home, especially the kitchen, clean and well kept. Clean up any spills, make sure that the trash is covered and removed on a regular basis, and keep food sealed in containers. We also want to vacuum off and to eliminate the presence of cockroach allergens, and keep the basements, attics, and crawl spaces well ventilated and dry, and visit them once in a while so that if you see an infestation of cockroaches, you have an early warning and you can get it controlled before it gets out of hand. We also want to try to seal out any cockroaches that live outside that might be trying to come inside, because in many parts of the country, cockroaches are commonly found outside but will work their way inside. We also want to keep them out by making sure that our screens are in good shape and that doors stay closed and there are proper seals around doors and windows.
Sounds like good advice, Greg. Any other final words for listeners?
Cockroaches are just like humans. They're attracted to shelter, warmth, and food. So we want to eliminate these as best we possibly can. And we call these conducive conditions for cockroaches. We want to eliminate either the food, we want to eliminate the warmth and the place to live, and certainly the water as well. If you do find signs of a cockroach infestation, you definitely want to contact a licensed pest management professional to treat the problem and help prevent future infestations. As with many pests, being proactive is the key. We want to help prevent a future infestation.
Greg, thanks for being with us.
It's a pleasure.
Our thanks to Greg Bauman, the Senior Scientist of the National Pest Management Association, for sharing this important information on cockroaches, their role as allergy triggers, and how homeowners can prevent these pests. For more information on the topics discussed in this podcast, please visit www.pestworld.org. Be sure to check back for future podcasts covering various pests and pest-related topics, all of which affect homeowners and their families. For the National Pest Management Association, this is Steve Lubetkin. Thanks very much for joining us. Take good care.